Wait, how loud's the music right now? Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everybody. How are you all doing? I hope you all doing absolutely amazing. It's important everyone knows I'm singing along. Of course you are, Sonny, as you should be. What the... What? What do you mean hype train incoming? Hey, thank you for the resub. Thank you so much for the resub. I really do appreciate it. We're going to slowly turn down this music here. Hello, 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 hello. How is everybody today? You doing good? You look really pretty. You especially. Every voidling. You look gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Thank you for the biddies. What is up, everybody? Have you been having a good day? Hope your day is having a sun deck. A sun deck? A sun deck? What does that mean? I'm so glad to see you all. I am so glad to see you all. You know, no matter how long my day goes, I'm always excited that I get to come here, come home, and hang out with all of you. Even if we just do goofy games, or we hang out and we vibe, or we just exist, it's fine. I'm excited. I'm sorry to hear that, Gibbets. Gibberino. You are amazing. I miss you. Miss all of you. And thank you for the hype train. I can't believe we've hit a hype train already. Okay, so to the boy, and it's going really well. Well done, Noxtus. I wish you the best of luck. W's hype train? Exactly. Oh no, I've been eating tahini chili lime gummy bears. Yes, I'll share. Come here. You can have one. And I get the rest of the pack. Thank you for the resub. Thank you for the sub, Onyx. All right, I'm gonna go through. Fine, you can have two. You want chocolate? I have chocolate for you. Come here. Come get it. Thank you, Onyx. Okay. I'm gonna pause the music because it's driving me insane. Good music, but I just really can't focus today. So I'm going to go through all of our... Ooh, Cowbob! Thank you for the gifted sub to Sunny the Sunshine. Okay, I'm going to go through and read all of it. Can I have a bowl of... Asher? You don't get enough iron, do you? Go eat some spinach or some protein and get some iron in you. If you all want to chew on ice, you probably have an iron deficiency. Thank you for the biddies. Thank you. But yes, okay. So, if you chew ice, it's a high chance that you have too low of iron. If you crave chewing ice. Okay. Thank you for the bonk. We're gonna read all the check-ins real quick. Give me a second. You ready? Chat, you ready? But it's ice, it's nice. I'll play some music while I do the counts. But the best song. I am hungry. I'm not hungry. I want to chew on my arms. Violence. Okay, first. Congratulations, Maddie, on getting first. Congratulations, Starnoxus on second. And well done, Boku. You got third. And now, for all the hellos, hey, thank you for the biddies! Hello, Misty. Hello, Star. Hello, Maddie. Hello, Necro Ninja. Hello. I lost it. There's hello, Star Noctis. Hello, Arya. Hello, Humenia. Hello, Lunar. Hello, Carmria. Hello, Kitty. Hello, Galactic. Hello, Stellar. Hello, Unstable. Hello, Zenix. Hello, Spooky. Hello, Silverfang. Hello, Killbob. Hello, Lachlan. Boku. Hello, Bogu. Hello, Ayos. Hello, Meow Kitty. Hello, Lucky. Hello, Bellatrix. Hello, Annabelle. Hello, Seven Kai. Hello, Gangsta Neeks. Hello, Fullmetal Brunky. Call Me Mutt and Flashy Ginger. Hello, Aurora. Hello, Wolfos Untamed. Hello, Cat Bonks. Hello, Flame Fox. Hello, Eli. Hello, Chaos. Beanie. Hello, Tasha. Hello, Escher. Hello, Elliptic. Hello, Sakona. Hello, na 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 na. Hello, Nanashis. Hello, Caitlin. Hello, Nimbus. Hello, Liana. Hello, Gibbets. Hello, Rookie. Hello, Talissima. Hello, Yumi. Hello, Julia. Hello, Kira. Hello, Toga. Hello, Zombie. Biscuit. Hello, Via Vlog. Do you vlog? Curious. Hello, Kizu. Hello, Momomiya. Hello, Dishan. Hello, Oshin. Hello, Shadowy. Hello, Imana. Hello, Red Fae. Hello, Pandragon. Hello, Poppy Sprout. Hello, Adn Malay. Just wanted to say, medical professionals you know have mental issues. They shouldn't treat you horribly, but you're a wonderful community. I am positive that you all will make a better day. Ha! Yes, we will. Hey! What the heck, Aurora? Thank you for the gifted subs. We made it to the next levels. Lulz. 10. Hey, thank you. What the heck? Hello, Pandragon. Hello, Poppy. Hello, Admally. Hello, Kakashi's wife, Sarah. Hello, Useless Huntress. Hello, Dave. Hello, Moreau. Hello, Bristier. We're at level 4. It's crazy. Hello, Echo. Hello, Sunny. Hello, Kitty Goth. Hello, Shank. Hello, Ruby. Hello, Discorded. Hello, Belle Beauty. Hello, Keeper Fake. Keeper, are you busy, Keeper, hypothetically, are you busy right now? Boku, what the heck? Thank you for the gifted subs. And Gamer Girl. Hey, yo, is that a Gamer Girl? Thank you for the follow and welcome to the menagerie. Boku, what the heck? Thank you. Hello. Hey, thank you for the bits. Thank you. Hello. Give me a second. Hello, Opianly. Hello, Pixie. Hello, Little Mouse. Hello, Red Moon. Hello, The Reals Rabbit. Local Crab Buff, you win. Congratulations. Hello, The Real Rabbit Wolf. Hello, Chicken Witch. Hello, Rainy Day. Hello, Akudo. Hello. Oh, Echo did a 3 sub. Nice. Thank you, Echo. Hello, Cheeky9. Nina. Hello, Broke Arc Faye. Hello, Sinful Microwave. Hello, Kira. Hello, Russell Viper. Hello, Neffy. Hello, Looney. Hello, Ari. I think we've done one. Hello, Licia. Where are we? Hello, Rando. Hello, Sleepy Sunny Puppy. Hello, Samurai Queen. Wow, there's the... Thank you. Y'all, I don't deserve this, and I really appreciate it every time you gift. And we did it! Look at that! Ha. We did it. I've achieved. Sorry, did you answer me, Keeper? I don't remember. All right, 40 minutes? Never mind. Who won? Crab Puff did. Crab Puff, I'm adding you to the list. Crab Puff won. All right. So, hello. I want to shoot something. Oh, the winner list. I'm building up a winner list. And when I get to when I have enough, I'm going to make a chart that shows up on stream. And yes. Okay, I want to shoot things. And so now I need to figure out something to shoot, chat. But I don't... No, I can't think of something. Hi, another day your chill stream accompanies my sleeps. Haha, my chill stream. Yes, that's what we're doing today. Very Ooh, hello, weed. I mean, not weed. I want to shoot things. And I have nothing to shoot. I have horror game. I have game where you control... I try. I cannot pronounce your name, Payne. Is it Painley? Okay. High on life. Ooh. Well, I mean, I guess I can try to install High on Life. Let's see how difficult it's going to be to install. High on Life. How big is it? 57. Let's see. Do you want to shoot something on Saturday with Keeper? Saturday, I'm busy. Maybe. No, I'm busy Saturday. I'm doing thing on Saturday. It is... Woof. No, that's the game. That's the day I'm doing the indie game thing. Yo, my brain is always gone. It's always gone. Somebody came in, middle of the night, unhinged my skull, ripped out my brain, and I don't know what they did with it. Now, the only ones who live with me are the Voidlings, so... Voidlings, question. Which one of you took it? Which one of you did it? Who still has it? Also, ooh, thank you so much for the redeem. There you go. You really wanted it. What would you want with my brain? What do you have enough points for? Luna, what do you have enough points for? Huh? What do you got enough points for? You gonna do it? You gonna do something? Show me. Show me right now. Show me. What are you gonna do? Hey, for the check-in. Welcome, Nimura. How dare you? How dare you? All right, fine. Just for you. I'm gonna do this, all right? But remember, I'm watching you. Ain't no way you're gonna mix those two. Really? Really? You're gonna make my... Fine. How much we got on the Southern Voice left? None. Well then. I suppose I can be at your service then. Is this what you wanted? Have you been wanting this the entire time? This voice and the other? If I could roll my eyes at you, I would. Right, apparently I must do this one now. I'm such a good doggy. You happy? Thank you so much for that hype train, y'all. That... You see, there's a problem I have. Even when I'm doing British voice, I'm still stuck saying the words I always do. Oh no. So you know how we've been waiting for the install that I've been looking for? Well, apparently... the lovely Xbox decided that it wasn't worth my time to get the install that I wanted, and instead installed Warhammer 40k Darktide, which isn't a bad game, but it's not what I was looking for. Fine. First, ara. There you go, that's what you wanted, right? And second, we have the woof woof. Your burnt butler is here to serve. Mwah. You want two? Wait, where I've lost the plot. Oh, I'm so sorry you have to leave. I know, right? It's the silly little Xbox here. So if it would just please start, that way I could get some idea of how long this is going to take. Thank you for the head pats. Maybe I should play on Xbox today. Well, technically it's the Xbox store. I don't know if it really counts as the truly playing through the Xbox. Alright, let me see how long this is going to take. If it takes more than a few minutes yet, we are not doing this. In which case, I'll play one of the other weird games I have installed recently. Xbox store is nice. It's not bad. It's cheap. Yes, Microsoft does suck. I have so many complaints to make about the dumb, silly, little Microsoft. Have you seen Windows 11? I don't know how many of you play Windows 11. Gene is a weird gamer. You can't play with me. And now Pocket Gene, well, don't pocket me. Release me. I belong in no one's pants. I belong out in the wild to roam free. But yes, I refuse to use Windows 11. I work on Windows 11, exactly, and I don't use it outside of work. They're putting me in pockets. I deserve to be free. I should be able to roam in fields of lovely flowers. Who said it was a pants pocket? Well, what pocket is it then? You have pants? Well, I hope it's not a pants pocket. I know exactly. I hope it's not a pants pocket. I don't know why your pants have pockets, do they? Yeah. Exactly. Where were we? Okay. That one's done? Sweet. All right. So, I guess we're going to play a weird game. We have two choices here. Two choices. The Invincible or Children of the Sun. Y'all are getting to pick one of those. Neither are technically a horror game, so it fits in. Children of the Sun or The Invincible. The Invincible looks more cinematic. Children of the Sun looks more interesting. Poll? Okay, you're right. We should do a poll. Let's do a poll. And then I can tell you which one I want. Here we go. Poll. And that way you get to see. It was a coat pocket? Oh, okay, that's okay then. Game for today. Children of the Sun. The Invincible. One is on Mars, which is not Children of the Sun. The other one is about a cult. I shouldn't have told you that. BB No Money's not quitting. BB No Money's not quitting. BB No Money says he's quitting. BB No Money's not quitting. There's absolutely no way that man is quitting. I would laugh if he was, but, yeah. Of course. I mentioned a cult. I knew I shouldn't have done it. Immediately. 32 votes. 34 votes, Children of the Sun. 6 votes, The Invincible. You know what? I don't think the Invincible could win. I don't think chat could make the Invincible win. There's no way you could change the tides, honestly. He's doing it for the last. You wanted the Invincible? Yep, you would need 42 to win for the Invincible. There's only 6. Meanwhile, Children of the Sun is 44. You know what's funny? None of you know what either of these games are. You're going exclusively off the name. What did they tell you in school, chat? What did everybody tell you in school? Don't judge a book off its cover. Now I'd like to show you what the Invincibles looks like. You ready? The Invincible. Which we aren't playing. Don't worry about that noise. It won't play. Everything's broke. Everything's broken. I give up. Chat, stream's over. I could also play Cult of the Lamb, which, you know, I think Cult of the Lamb's going to be our, like, backup game. You did not hear any cans. You did not hear any cans. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, the game's not, that one's not loading. So we're just gonna play, Sun. Just when I get here, you go. I know, right? I'm sorry, I had to leave. By the way, how does my nose sound today? I took stuff. Actually, do I have any beer left? I have no beer. I have a bottle of wine. Chat, I bought a bottle of wine. Waves little leg. Do you know why I bought a bottle of wine? It's very important that you know this. This game is so loud. Ah! So you feel fancy? No. There's a good reason why. Because a lovely little tarot deck showed up the other day. And I have a whole process that I have to go through with every new tarot deck. Speaking of Keeper, thank you so much for the tarot deck. It finally showed up. I wasn't sure it was going to at first because it was like, it arrived in Savannah, Georgia. What? Yes. But yes, so I have a whole process that I do with tarot decks. So we have no beer. How's your foot? My foot's actually... Wait. My foot's fine. This time. But next time it might not be so lucky. So... how's your arm? Not bad. Actually doing decently. Wait a second. And I can breathe. Wow. Chad, this is amazing. Void links, something has happened. I'm alive somehow. How? I don't know. But yay! Alright, come on. Come on, game capture. You can do it. Oh, whoops. I think I messed up. Come on, game capture.
Control
Show us the game. Come on, you can do it. Show us the game. Come on. Why is it not working? Wait, what if I do... oh, there it goes. Alright, we're not going to do full screen, though. Aw, look at the game. There's the game. You can hear redeems. Oh, no. Wait. There we go. When I go walking, I strum. Okay, are we ready? Was the game too loud? When I go walking, I strut my stuff, and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. Let me go on. Invincible does look cool, doesn't it? We'll play it next time. Today we're going to be playing this game, Children of the Sun. This one's made by Devolver Media. It's about shooting things. Time to go hunting. Oh, wow. Wow. No, but it's still there. Here we go. All right, how do you feel? How do you feel so far? Everybody caught up? Everybody understand what's happening? Good. I'm not going to explain it. Type 1 if you understand. Type 2 if you don't understand. Type 3 if you have snacks that you'd like to offer me. Thank you for the snacks. Gangston, Neeks, ban yourself. Don't you 6-7. 1 and 3. Yay. Oh, why do y'all have so many snacks? Who has so many snacks? If soup counts a snack. Soup does. Soup does. Okay, move around the environment to find targets. So this is done through the mouse. Okay. Perfect. I have no food? Ooh, oh no. We have a clear shot. Aim. And... and there we go. The virus is in their hands. All right, we ready? Here we go. We'll make ramen. I could use some ramen. This is not a horror game, by the way. 1, 2, 4. Okay. Kamiya has peach rings. You know Kamiya hates mangoes. There you go. 1. It's a magic bullet. There we go. You don't like mangoes. Wait. Okay. Y'all have to have some things that... Favorite fruit. Favorite fruit right now, chat. What's your favorite fruits? You don't like the textures? Why? Strawberries. Strawberries are good. Lemons. How is lemon your favorite fruit? Fruit. I don't believe you. Like, there's so many other fruits. Yummy lemon, watermelon. But like, what do? You just straight up eat lemons? I don't believe you. Starfruit's very interesting one. I like that. All right, here we go. All right, I think we have them all. Let's make sure. Yep, I should do. 1. I don't like blueberries unless they are pancakes and muffins. Oh, interesting. Interesting requirement. 2. Oh, there he is. 3. And 4. My favorite fruit is actually bananas. Used to be oranges. Did you know bananas are berries? Berries aren't fruits? What do you mean berries aren't fruits? What do you mean berries aren't fruits? No. Explain this one. How is a berry not a fruit? What is it, a vegetable? No. You're not doing this to me. Berries are not vegetables. Okay. In what? How? How are berries not fruits? Yes, fruits and vegetables are just culinary terms. Exactly. Vegetables aren't real? Shoot, I should have known. Okay, if I shoot the gas tank... Gonna hit him first. I think from him we can hit the gas tank. Okay. Did I mess up? I might have messed up. It's a puzzle game, chat. I messed up. I messed up. No! What's that? Failed. Okay, one. So I have to go from him to him to him to him. Okay. So there's a guy there. Take him out. Got it. Imagine the void link's an escape room. I love escape rooms, y'all. You don't even know how much I love escape rooms. Oh, I have an idea. So we're gonna hit the gas tank. I missed the gas tank. Yeah. Wait, how do y'all like escape rooms? Oh, escape rooms are so good. Escape rooms are so good. One of the best things in the entire world. And I used to go to one. I went to one all the time, okay? It was called, I don't actually remember what it was called, but it was so good. And here's how it goes, okay? You would, basically it had electronics in it, which was cool. And there was one that was like a time one, and it took me forever to figure out because... Okay, wait, where's the gas tank? If I was a gas tank, where would I be? There it is. Okay. And now we did it. Grab your hands, escape room. Chat, did you know that the basement is actually an escape room? Oh, well, don't worry about, like, with escape rooms, you don't have to worry about, like, because, first off, the door is always unlocked. They can't lock the doors legally. Second, you can always, like, get out pretty easily. And, they're really cool. Like, the puzzles are super cool. They're very unique. Bye-bye. And some of them will have like electronics in them. Like I actually signed up to be a tester for an escape room. They didn't choose me. Well, I mean, they said they were going to contact me when they were doing one, and they never contacted me. Oh wait, am I a girl? Am I wearing a skirt? I'm a girl. I'm a girl killer. I'm a girl who kills. Pog. Well, cause so like my favorite place that does escape rooms. I've been waiting for ages for them to do a new one because they had one that they had for a while and they said they would redo it. But they hadn't redone it. Okay, I could be a boy in a skirt who kills. Very valid. And so yeah, I did the one that they had, which is really weird. Oh, there it is. He moved! No! Hey, Welshie, what's up? It is cool. Are you enjoying this? Cool. I want something with like a story where I shoot things, but this one's not too bad. It's a fun little concept, especially now that I think I'm a femboy. Chat, can we just say he's a femboy? Yes. Perfect. I want to be a femboy murderer. Okay, one. This game's also really cheap if you want to get it. I do suggest it. Who's escaping? No, you don't. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Where is it? There it is. Okay, sorry. Escape room. I keep wanting to talk about escape room. I'm trying so hard to focus. Okay, so escape room. I went to this escape room, and it was like some like Knights of the Holy Grail or something theme, and there was this one part that we almost couldn't do, and it was good that I'm tall and the person I was with was tall, because we had to do a thing with like, oh, you have to connect the map to like this other, you have to connect this thing to this other thing. I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And we had to ask for a clue. What you had to do is you had to put your hand on a statue, and you had to then touch your friend's hand, and your friend had to then touch a mirror, because it was like you had to show the thing its reflection or something like that. And for some reason, you can shoot current through the mirror, and we had an electric current going all the way through us to the mirror that triggered a button that made the mirror go up, which was crazy, but it was really awesome. Hey, thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. Thank you for the biddies. But the one I really liked, there was another one that I really liked that was all about a murder room, right? So the idea was that you went into a hotel that a murderer had bought, and he was renovating it and using it to kill people, and you went to the hotel next, right? And so you had to escape the hotel before he showed up. And so there was all these like little clues and like stuff like that was hidden in his different crimes. Okay, we're gonna go first for the bird. Just gonna go for that bird. First one down. And yeah, it was very, 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 very cool. Wait, where's the, there they are. Apparently we're killing animals with this. What game is this? This is called Children of the Sun. It is in the thing. We haven't gotten a game command yet, though, I think. We eat up in the escape room. It would be a lot of fun. I would love to take all the voidlings to an escape room. You know what? Hey, Inky! Hello, Ink Moon Arts. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Give me a second. I need to find this last bird. I gotta kill a bird real quick. Where'd the bird go? Shoot. I messed up. I think I lost the bird. Well, you know what that means. Inky, don't worry about the skirt. I have a thing I need to do. Loading, 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 loading. There it is. All right, come with me, everybody. I lost my clothes. Oh no, I lost my clothes. I saw them missing. Oh no. Did I get them back? All the clothes are back. They're back. They're back. It's fine. It's fine. We're good. We're good. Anyways, where was I? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. My scene is broken for some reason. There it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, everybody. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, and a soon-to-be villain. And Inky Moon Arts, thank you so much for the raid. I really, really do appreciate it. See, this is a special room where I handle all of my raiders to make sure that, you know, you get the best treatment possible. And we do things like this here. Yay! And now you're trapped. Welcome. Enjoy prison. You're never getting out. This is how I keep my viewership. Do you think these people are here because they want to be? No, I've just been locking them in the cage. Then they get excited about a cage. So apparently, Stockholm Syndrome has been working. I mean, they're here all willingly. Chat, Twitter, Twitch, pay attention. They all love me here. Yes? Fine. We'll do a little swing. But what were you up to? How was stream? Here. First off, I'm going to change my hue. Look at that. I got different colors now. And woo. I refuse to free Inky. There you go. Enjoy your little swings. And a little shake. But yes. Oh, hello, Moo Moo. Moo Moo, did you bring Inky? I discovered you from TikTok. It is a safe space. Look, see, in this cage, you're safe. You're free. There are no problems here. Only safety. I promise. Well, fine. Arf, arf, I'm such a cute little puppy. And there's the swing. Okay. But yes, welcome. Don't just look at don't worry about the cage man. Don't worry about the cage man. The cage man isn't real. Right, chat? The cage man isn't real. Hey, Alpha. No, no, no. Nobody paid for it. I did it for longer than 5 minutes. If you're the cage man, don't worry about the cage man. But yeah, sorry, Inky, what'd you do? I asked you, but I don't think I actually read what you said. If you did say first time playing what? Kingdom Hearts. Oh, sick! Nice, nice. Do you like it? I like the island a lot. I like the starting island a lot, but I love the starts of games more than I like to finish them. Don't judge me. Okay, I think if I can kill... So we need to get those 2 birds. Okay, we're gonna get that fish and that fish. Which is gonna lead me to that fish. Hey, Kinsey, what the heck? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We got another one. Alright, we're gonna grab this bird. I guess we're going back to the cage area, buddy. Get pumped. You're enjoying it? Who's your favorite character, Inky? Who's your favorite character? Alright, we're going back. Hello, Raiders. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, a writer, and a soon-to-be villain. I'm here to do one important thing. To ask you, how often do you need to be fed? Because I'm honestly starting to run out of food. And you're stuck here now, so congratulations! Woo! No swings, only shakes. Get shaked. Hello, Kinsey. What were you doing? What were you up to? Did you have fun? Was it a good stream? Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Daily feed. Fine. Y'all, I will feed you, okay? Give me a second. You can have, I don't know, what is this? You can have iron supplements, or you can have a puppy, or you can have pillows. None of these are food. Where'd all the food go? Cake. You can have cake. You're allowed to have cake. Enjoy your cake. It was a good stream. I'm glad. 'Tis your birthday! What the heck? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kinsey. Happy birthday to you. Chat, everybody wish them happy birthday. Boop. Here, you can have that cake too. You can have those. Don't worry about the iron supplements. There you go. Thank you for the follows. Welcome, all you lovely, lovely, lovely people. Welcome to the menagerie. You're not allowed to leave, by the way. You're now permanently stuck here forever. So, oh, getting stuck on your birthday. That's rough. Here, you can have the puppy, Kinsey. There you go. Happy birth. Congratulations on being expulged. Removed from the womb. Proud of you for being alive. I'm so proud of you for existing. Okay, we're going back to killing birds. Alright, we have 3 left. Where is the last bird? If I were a bird, where would... Okay, that angle. That should do it. No eating, people. Yay, puppy and cake. I know, exactly, right? It's all you need. Puppies and cake. Fine, you can drink water. Y'all can have a little water. Oh, that sounds sick. I'd love that, poisonous. I'd love that. Season scared your cat. Then can I have they can have lettuce? You can have lettuce. Feed them lettuce. You heard the mods. Lettuce and Doritos. The 2 most important things to eat. Lettuce and Doritos. Oh no, I lost my leg. But yeah, sorry. Inky, if you need a raid and run, please feel free to do so. And Kinsey, if you need a raid and run, feel free to do so. Psychic powers. Oh, we're psychic. We are a psychic femboy. I'm so excited to be a psychic femboy. I've always wanted to be a psychic femboy. Shoot towards the left tree. Okay, wait. Shoot towards the left tree. Okay. Where is it? Yes. I will call you Poison. Poison. Yeah, I believe that we're a psychic femboy. That, or we could just be, you know, a lady. But where's the fun in that? I don't want to be a lady. Chad, that means I have less rights. I'm sorry. Men are awful. It's sad because it's true. That person's dead? Maybe. He's dead. Okay. Oh, maybe? Floral? Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. Really? Really? Oh, is that person dead already? I can't believe you caged me. I can't believe you would cage me like this. I think... Okay, if I were them, where would I be? There? I missed. No! No! Well, fair enough, you know? It is fair. Okay, I didn't think it was a real person. No, we already did this. I don't need to replay the tutorial. There we go, okay. Huh. So there's one. Is this guy alive? No, he's not. Okay, live and learn. I know you've locked me in a cage. Alexa, 5-minute timer.
5 minutes, starting now.
I don't want to be punished. I don't want to be. I want to be free. I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so... I don't need you. I wanna break free. God knows I want to break free. Falling in love for the first time. This time, where is the last man? I gotta look up the lyrics. Give me a second. It's singing time. It's singing time. It's singing time. Oh, by the way, go check out Kinsey if you haven't, and go check out Inky if you haven't as well. I'm such a good puppy. I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied. I don't need you. I've got to break free. God knows I want to break free. I've fallen in love. I've fallen in love for the first time, and this time I know it's for real. I've fallen in love. God knows I've fallen in love. Why is Gene engaged? It just happens. It's strange, but it's true. Anyways, we're gonna go back to the game. Okay, if I were here and you were there, but where is the caveman? Yes. That's one of your favorite Queen songs. The other one, the shoot, how's it go? It goes, Each morning I get up, I cry, can barely stand on my feet, take a look in the mirror and cry. That song? Day I'm gonna be free, oh, somebody, can anybody find me somebody to love? He works on every day, and I try, but everybody wants me now. They say I'm going crazy. I don't know, y'all. You know what? We do this. Two. Okay. So he's got to be here somewhere, right? Where he's sneaky. I don't need you falling in love. God knows I want to break free. Wait, maybe. What do you think? Maybe? Nope. Maybe on the other side of the silo. That's the only thing I could think of. Is maybe he's on the other side of the silo. All right, I'm gonna shoot hardcore. Gonna go. My singing lessons paid off. Oh, thank you. I got this. You ready? I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your life. It's so satisfied. I don't need you. I want to break free. God knows. Am I doing amazing? God knows I want to break free. Thank you. Thank you. This is why I'm in the cage. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in the cage. Hey, timer's up. You can't escape me now. I've been released. Alexa, stop. God knows I want to break free. Despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. Ooh. Okay, see, so he's there. And he's there. Then where is this guy? You know what? Chat, I'm killing the bird. I missed the bird. What anime got a new season? Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. Hydrate or die straight, you know what they say. Okay. Now, if I were to be a thing, where would I be? See, this is perfect. There's no way he can get away now. He's got to be here. What the heck? What's going on? How? 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 And so there's nothing in there. What pink light? Okay. Step one. Okay, wait. I have an idea. Bird one. Aim for the bunk. Okay, we're gonna kill bird two. Gene, I named a possum after you. Oh, sweet. Possum is dead. One. Oh, he's been back here the whole time. It doesn't play dead if it doesn't get attention. Hey! It probably should. Yeah! Woo! Woohoo! Nailed it! Look how cool that is. Look how cool that is. Hiding bodies. Okay. Open the gate through their hearts. Ooh, I'm ready for this. I'm so excited. He's a hammer. He nailed it. I'm gonna go grab some wine. Give me a second. This needs wine. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. This needs wine. You didn't get it perfect. I can't believe you didn't get it perfect. Also, I forgot I have a chicken sandwich, so I'm gonna eat the chicken. Oh. Still proud of you, though. Still proud of you. Still proud of you. How'd I mute again? I'm sorry. Have y'all seen the guy who's a toilet on YouTube? Have y'all seen the guy who's a toilet on YouTube? He just wears a toilet seat on his head and he's just like constantly on lives freaking out. Yeah. I don't know why he's a toilet, but he is. Someone strangled me. And like he's just constantly like absolutely going crazy, and I'm just don't know why. I don't know, like, I mean, I guess he must be making money at this, right? Like, you wouldn't do this if you weren't making money. But I'm just like, it can't, the bills can't be that, you know, the bills can't be that high. Thank you so much. Nailed it. One left. Where do you think he is? Any birds? Birdie, 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 birds, 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 birds. Shoot. It's gotta be here somewhere. It's gotta be something I can shoot to move. There he is. Yes! Woo! I guess they can be. I guess they can be. Well, everybody heard about the bird. Bird, 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 a bird is a word, well, a bird, a bird, a bird, a word, well, don't you know about the bird? Well, everybody knows that the bird is a word, well, a bird, a bird, a bird. Y'all, can you believe that I can do these voices? I get nice and focused and just go, But then other things I do is go, bird, 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 well, a bird. Let's go. God, aren't you so pretty? And immediately go to, well, everybody heard about the bird, well, a bird, a bird, a bird, a word, well, a bird, 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 a bird, a word, well, a bird, a bird, a bird, a word. Don't you know about the bird? I said everybody heard the bird, a word, well, a bird, 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 a word, well, a bird. Surfing. There it is. Surfing. We have one left. There he is. Look at him. Try to flee. Driving and I'm swerving and I'm chronically. What background should I do? Forest. Chat, can I have one day where I'm allowed to just be unhinged for an entire day? Where I don't have to bark constantly? I just want one day. I want one day. I want one day. Yes. No, it's not. Because you don't hear me singing the song. Driving and I'm swerving and I'm chronically masturbating. Have you not heard the song? It goes, driving and I'm swerving and I'm furiously masturbating, cooking and I'm cleaning and I'm furiously... Anyways, wait, let me find the lyrics. We're gonna find the song, give me a second. Ooh. Okay, here it is. You ready? Hey for the sub! Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyways. I wanted to be quiet. The internet. I can't decide whether you should live or die, or you'll probably go to heaven. Please don't hang your head and cry. I wonder why. I'm dead inside, golden gone and petrified. Lock the doors and close the blinds. I'm going for a ride. Oh, I couldn't bury you alive or feed you poison with a knife. I'm gonna miss you when I'm gone. Oh, I could bury. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. DUI, now how about you die? I'll drive 100 miles an hour. Little did you know I filled up on gas. I'ma get your fountain building ass. Pulverize the fuck out of my Birkin truck. Running out of luck. Truck. I messed up. Driving in my car right after a beer. Hey, that bump is shaped like a deer. DUI, now how about you die? I'll drive 100 miles an hour. Little did you know I filled up on gas. I'ma get your fountain making ass. Pulverize the fuck with my Birkin truck. It seems you're out of luck. Truck. Oh, I thought there'd be somebody in here. Might be. Oops. Have a good lucky. This is a very good chicken sandwich. Okay, I know where some of them are. And that wasn't too bad, you know? So if I can get this car, we'll get the car. And I can see the guy in the house, so we're gonna grab him. And I can grab the guy in the house who's right there. If I can get out of the house, which I can probably do that way. There we go. I can grab him through the truck I missed. Is that something? That's a gas tank is what that is. Okay, now I can get him. Somebody in that building? Didn't see. Okay, and I know there's somebody there. There's one left. This game is fun. Driving and thank you for that, Bats. Diving in a thing. Is there somebody in there, do you think? Oh, I believe in you. You can do it. You can do any voice that you set your mind to. I have iced tea. Driving in my car right after 5 beers. Wait, is that a person? I think I saw a person. I think I see a person. Is that a person or fire? It's fire. I was wrong. Is there any gas tank I can hit on this car? Is there any bird I can shoot out of the sky? There's no birds. Proves that birds aren't real. Birds were real, I'd be able to find one. But no. No. And it won't let me turn farther than this. Guess we go on the ground. I can't find this last guy. Okay, so there's a light on in here. Nobody in there. Oh, there he is. Found you! Peekaboo! I see you! Birds work for the bourgeoisie. The birds work for the bourgeoisie. The birds are the bourgeoisie. That's right, chat. Every bourgeoisie is a bird. They have wings and you can't see them. They are secret wings. Don't believe the lies they tell you when they tell you they don't have secret wings. They do. They do. Anyways, we're good. Where am I? Driving. Well, I believe I might be out of luck with this one. Unfortunately, I did not think this went through. Do you believe there might be a car out here in the distance a little bit? No? Of course not. Why would a car be out here, you might ask yourself? And I'll tell you. You see, you've met my faithful handyman. You see, he was a little let down because he thought you were the Candyman. Anyways. I have this. Oh, what are we playing? We are playing, it's in the thingy. What's it called again? Children of the Sun? Children of the Sun, that's right. Children of the Sun. We can drive in again. Okay, so there are 6 of them. We have them all marked now. It's going to make this a lot easier. It's going to take him out from the very beginning, very quickly. Watch this. So simple. Ain't nobody dope like me. I am so fresh and I am so clean. Don't you know I'm so sexy? I am so fresh and clean. Well, this is a bit of a predicament here. But I believe I could probably shoot my way into this house. Curve the bullet a little bit. Take him out. Very easy, very clean. Find him, shoot him in the back of the skull. Watch for this. Take a little look here. See him in the back of the head. Easy. And now we have the last one who's going to be in this building. I turned it too quickly. I am indeed such a good doggy. Thank you for reminding me. It is something that I do need to remember every once in a while. And you know what they say, I am one hell of a butler. The British voice makes you eepy. Sorry, I'll get more energetic with my British voice. Okay, everybody. First off, remember there are 2 things that you need to know about being British. First one, tea. Second one, it's also tea. That's right, it's tea twice. I don't believe we're going to make this. I don't believe we can maybe, if we get very lucky, we can shift this here into the wall immediately. Your British ex hated tea. Cara mia, it's because you drink Monster. Because you understand what you truly are. A monster. Just kidding, you're not a monster. You're a very lovely person. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. Okay. You are incredible, you are gorgeous, you are wonderful, you are kind and sweet, and one of the most incredible people I have ever had the fortunate fortune of ever fortuning to know. We're going to take him out first this time to make it a little bit easier. Can I say what? My soldier's rage. My soldier's rage. Yes. Is that what you wanted? My soldier's rage. Why you wanted that, I would not know, but I'm glad I can help you with what you are seeking. You enjoy Monster. I'm glad you enjoy it. I also enjoy Monster. Ah, cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. Cat, I'm a kitty cat, and I dance, 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 and I dance, dance, dance. You prefer when I'm rude? Okay, Karamia. I can do that for you, just for you, though. I know that you prefer this. Me being mean. Dog? I'm a doggy dog. And I dog, 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 and I dog, dog, dog. Anything else you'd like me to say in this voice before the voice runs out? Oh. I'm not a cat. You cannot prove that. They call me Cat Dog. I love my voidlings. They are the best. Very true. It's hard. 1 second. You are the most amazing person. 1 second. You are the most amazing person. You the person who requested this, not me. Okay. Ah! So hard! Okay, and... There you go. Sorry. You are the most amazing person ever, and you deserve all the love of the world that you can handle and more. I like that. No, you said you, so I repeated it. Mm-hmm. Alright, I guess we're doing something for a little while. I'm also with my sandwich, by the way. Okay, sandwich is done. Yay! Wait. Okay, you can now shoot the last two enemies. Oh, sick. Wait, can I shoot myself? I can shoot myself. Hey! I want to give my 3 younger sisters high five in the face of the chair. Valid. Okay. I like that. I missed. No. Okay, tell me something. Tell me something new. Oh, updates on everything. So I've reached out to somebody about the drunken Shakespeare. No responses so far. One person did turn me down for a very, very valid reason. They don't drink. So, you know, that was, you know, fair. I suppose. Very fair, right? I can't get this last shot. I messed up. That's just a bird? Any animals in the neighborhood who want to die? Bird. I knew it. You've come to save me, bird. Yes! Ha-ha! If only we could actually ricochet bullets off birds. Would you, if you could ricochet bullets off a bird, would you? Tell me, chat, right now, quickly, would you ricochet bullets off a bird? My Twitch recap just came out. What is it? Is it me? Yay, Katarina would shoot birds, chat. You heard it here. Katarina would shoot birds. Oh. Okay, so story time. It looks like we are raised in the cult. Somebody is looking for some missing daughters or something. And now, for some reason, we have decided to go and kill all the cultists. Our dad was involved at some point in time. When? Who knows? Ooh, that's a lot of people. Let's go. Okay, so we're gonna take one of them out here. I was so close. Can you imagine how cool that would have been? Okay, I think what I want to try to do, I want to see if I can shoot him while he's turning and make him crash. It shows none of the stuff you watch. Oh. That's okay. I know you hate it. Oh, it didn't work. You're second. I'm second. Who was first? Who was first? It better have been something good. You're first. Yay! Gibbets, that means that you're the best. Yay! Hello, Miss Lovely. Welcome. Oh, so you're telling me I don't stream long enough. Telling me I don't stream enough. I got Akademiya. I will stream longer just for Akademiya, everybody. I'm gonna make myself tired by over streaming, but it's gonna happen for Akademiya. They won't let you? Akademiya won't let me? Thank you for the AW. Oh, hey! I know you. Of course, Miss Lovely. Why not? Your well-being comes first? Why well-being? There's no being in a well. You know, who told you about the well-being, chat? Who told you? Which one of the Voidlings told you about the well-being? There's nobody in the well. There's not a well-being. I swear, there totally isn't a well-being. That was a lie. They see some, Children of the Sun. The Hat Man. Hat Man's not real. It's like the well-being. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. 6. Okay, where's the next guy? Sneaky, sneaky. Okay, there's one more somewhere. What do you think he is? There he is. Glad he came out. Thanks. Why are you afraid? What are you afraid of, Stellar Jazzy? Oh, make a doctor's appointment. You got this. I believe in you. Doctor's appointment, doctor's appointment, doctor's appointment, doctor's appointment. Oh, it's a Jesus figure. We're gonna kill Jesus. I'm gonna kill a Jesus. Woo woo, killing a Jesus. Not a real Jesus, chat. This is a fake Jesus, so it's okay. He's a false prophet. Kill the false prophets. Kill all false idols. One. Welcome back. Ah, so close. I'm an idol. Don't worship me. That is how we upset the Greek gods. Do not worship me. You're not allowed to worship me. You are allowed to give me food, snacks, and homage. But if you worship me, I don't want to upset the gods. Any of them. Whichever may or may not be there. I'm driving in my car right after a beer day, that bump shaped like a deer. Do you, I know, how about you die? You worship? Heck no. Heck no. Heck no. Look, y'all, Dionysus is goofy, but he's still a Greek. Ah! Bye! Oh, well, thank you so much for the weem. Okay, I'm gonna take him out quickly. I want to take him out first. Boop. To the head. There we go. Next. I immediately messed up. A child of Dionysus? What? Never! Who would ever. Trying to call me fat? Trying to call me a fat boy? I come eating gummy bears, you call me a fat boy? Crazy. Call me chonky because I'm Dionysus's? I like wine and what other activities, huh? What other activities, huh? No, it didn't work. Everyone drinks wine. Yeah, do you like your thick boys? Is that what it is, chat? You like your boys thick? That's very true. Asher, actually I'm glad you listed those. He's a god of writers and actors and, and creators. Favorite wine type? The free kind. The cheaper the better. Just kidding. Oh, for anything. Hello, Pebbles. I'm arriving in my car right after a brr. Hear that bump? Shaped like a durr. Deal. Now how about you die? I'll drive 100 miles. An hour. Yoink! I'm loving these. Oh, I'm loving these. These are such good, chili, freaking gummy bears. Pink is my favorite color. Pink from the lips of a lover. Pink, da 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 da. Pink when I turn off the light. You gotta work tomorrow, don't drink too much. Chili lime gummy bears, yes. Chili lime gummy bears. You drugged me with kindness. So I can pretend I exist. What? You were my father. And I was your fool. Pink when I turn off the lights. You now look at the mirror. Oh shoot. Your face is not distorted anymore. Here it goes, here it goes. So you became a stranger. You will be an only child. Or just don't drink enough to get hungover, y'all. Soon the sun will start shining through a bullet-shaped hole in your head. Dead. I work from home tomorrow, chat. It's gonna be so cool. It means I can make some longer videos that I've been meaning to make anyways. Today's Wednesday, right? Yes, yes, yes. When I can make my goofy things. Y'all, how do you feel about Wednesdays? I used to hate it. Wednesday used to be the objectively worst day of my life. Of course I'm going to be working at home. Okay, interesting. There you go. Yeah, dislike days end. Why? Oh, that's no good. Well, hopefully that gets better soon. Think when I can go to the... We're looking for the next man. There's 4 left. Oh, he was wearing a shield. No! They need it. They're gonna keep asking no matter what. Unfortunately, you hate Monday though. Monday you can hold your head. Tuesday, Wednesday stay in bed. Thursday wash the walls instead. It's Friday, I'm in love. Saturday wait. Sunday always comes too late. Monday and Sunday are bad luck days? Well, we're gonna change that. I've decided that's no longer the case, okay? Sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with that. They're gonna start having better luck on those days. From now on, congratulations. Oh, he was wearing a helmet. Everybody, your new good luck day is both Monday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Wednesday, Thursday, and also Tuesday. Okay? Yep, those are all your new good luck days. Get used to them. Yeah, every day is a good luck day. I'd probably have to shoot him in the front of the face. Fair enough. Any day that you're here, I give you a little luck in the morning, give you a little smooch, and in the evening, I just up the luck, so that when you have the rest of your day later, the next day, you're ready. Thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Thank you for the stretch. Yeah. Thank you for the head pats. I like shooting him in the foot. I curved too much. It was tea, okay? I don't have any water on me right now. It's tea, it's fine. I'm the best YouTuber and I love all my precious voidlings, which is true. I do love all my precious voidlings. How's day going? Going pretty well, actually. I didn't pick up enough speed. No. Fine, I'll drink more water later, okay? I have to record a bunch of lines tonight anyways. Irish tea? No, it's legitimately TT. Like, it's not Irish tea. Wow, I'm not an alcoholic, y'all. I had like a tiny sip of wine, y'all. I had the tiniest sip of wine. Oh my god, Gina's drinking some. Get wrecked, nerd. Get wrecked, nerd. Nerd. Oh, who? Thank you so much for the redeem. I messed up. Ah, so hard. We got this one. I got this one. I got it. I got it. Here we go. I like starting off at the end. First one. Got it. Got him. Got him. Got him. I didn't speed up enough. No. 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 Am I exciting enough? I got this. I'm making myself fall asleep. Zooey mama. Zooey mama. I can't get fast enough. You're trying to stop a cult. Kamiyoshi. Kamiyoshi. K-A-M-I is a Kamiyoshi. I have an idea. It's a bad idea, but it's an idea nonetheless. Okay, we're gonna do this. Yoink. Get riggedy, 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 wiggedy, 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 wiggedy. I messed up. I messed up. I messed up. No. But. Well. It's one of my favorite things to do of all time. You know exactly one of my favorite things of all time to do is just to, Thank you for the bonk. Okay, I need to get like... Yes! I missed one. Who'd I miss? No! Ah, thank you for the stretch. Yeah. Sorry. Wait, who did I miss? Hi, Pancake. Da-da. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's a heavy man. He's a heavy man. He's too fast. In the process of drawing a forest. Proud of you. Draw that forest. Draw it super nice and well. Remember, F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime at all down here in the deep blue sea. Stop it. Got him. Me, the zoomies, never. What are the zoomies? Explain to me the zoomies. Yes! Ah! F is for fire that burns down the whole town. U is for uranium bombs. N is for no survivors. Down here in the deep blue. See? You did it. U is for uranium bombs. Sorry. Y'all, I cannot be entertaining to watch. I'm just going crazy here. It's fine. I'm having a lovely time. That's not what fun's about? No, what's fun about? I'm here to seal the secret Krabby Patty formula. Give it to me, SpongeBob. It's me, your friend Patrick, who you would like to give the... What do you mean I failed? Do you know what that voice reminds me of more? It reminds me more of, You are the most devious man in New York City! Father! Peter, the horse is here. There it is. You are the most devious man! I missed. How could I miss? He was right there waiting for me. Have you ever seen Matt Perry? Not Matt Perry. What's his name? No. I have it. One second. His name is Matt Berry, not Perry. It's getting so hard being... Yes, exactly. It's from the Toast of London. Wait a second. Wait a second. God, there's one that I liked a lot that he does. Anyways, should I do my homework now or wait? Do your homework. Do it. Well, there's no place like London, and no, there's no place like London. You are young, life's been kind to you. You will learn. I accidentally slipped. But I don't want. I don't care. Don't care. Do it. It goes by the name of London. I have seen. But there's no place like London. Indigo Park? I've not heard of Indigo Park. What's Indigo Park? It sounds cool. Is Indigo Park cool? Is it perhaps? Want a government 2 hours? I don't. What do I want a government? Am I going to government 2 hours? How do I government for 2 hours? Explain to me. And she was beautiful. Yes, I would like the government. Give me the government. Bye. Enjoy your pee break. I believe in you. Wait a second. I have a little priest. Ah, it is. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the menagerie. Seems no full waist. Such a nice blonde frame. What's his name has? Has. No, it can't be traced. We need to listen to this. Chat, do we listen to a little priest? We're gonna listen to a little priest. Sweeney Todd. Here we go. We're watching it together. This is how we're ending stream. Hello, lovelies. By the way, hello, Siren Rose. Welcome to the menagerie. Seems an awful waste. As. Here we go. This thrift. I love their idea. You get it? If you get it, now you get it. I need to do a cover of the song. Desperate measures are called for. Hot out of the oven. I've a little priest. The sins of the flesh. Hmm. I love this. Do a lot of relatives favors. Find us in the shop. Dump. Mm. This is Sweeney Todd. I love that. I love that. Do you see the way he phrases things? This is important. Oh, shh. So good. Sorry. I forgot I had something to do at 7. We're fine. Sorry. Anyways. So, I like... Vomit Grump? I'll have to see. Possibly. Anyway, so... yeah, the reason why I like it a lot is because of the phrasing that he does for that. Because he refers to her as pet. He puts the knife directly to her throat. Immediately, like, giving this whole idea of, you know, he doesn't view her as anything worthwhile, right? 1 second. Why is this showing up twice? 1 second. There's okay. Anyways, showing it like. So yeah, he gives the vibe of like he doesn't see her as anything important, and oh, that's not where I wanted to go. And with that idea, he says, "We'll serve anyone. We mean anyone." Like giving the idea that he does not view her as anything worthwhile, that he would kill her at a second. So I like that. I like the way she phrases it. And she always calls him love, and he calls it pet. So you know, I like it. I like it. It's a thing. Anyways, let me check out this person. Let me check this person. Gina's demon all over. I know I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Yeah, okay. We can rate them. Twitch.tv. Are they are live right now, right? Vomit Grub is live. Yeah. Bet y'all, we're gonna raid into Vomit Grub. So can we get that raid message, please? Yeah, we'll raid into Vomit Grub. They look pretty interesting. And there's a raid message. Y'all have been, thank you for the stretch, have been very amazing tonight, y'all. Thank you for coming and hanging out, being as amazing as you always are. And y'all, I can't believe there's so many of you. There's always so many of you here. It is insane. I genuinely appreciate you. One day we'll get up, we'll hit 200, we'll hit 300, and then I'm going to change the way we have to do some of the stream stuff because I need to give you all the attention you deserve. We'll figure out how I'll make it work then. But for now, I think everything's been working amazing, and I appreciate you all being here so very, very much, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow, okay? Did you all have a good time? Did you all have a good time? Gotta make sure. Everybody have a good time? No, we're not leaving until you say yes. Good. There it is. There it is. There's my dear sweet voidlings. You be good now, okay? Bye, lovelies. Mwah.